Let me set up the scene. So after I made the Genshin Drip tier list part 2 video, I went to rewatch a lot of my old videos. Rewatch the Dead by Daylight ones. The Smite ones.
I looked up porn of them, bro.
What? The first ever video I uploaded being unturned.
No! Fuck, I fell! Fuck!
And then I scrolled into one series I haven't made in a very long time. And I'm of course talking about the Rant series. Also heal him, and it's bullshit! The series where I nerd out over League of Legends champions because I like complaining on the internet. It took me a long and hard time for me to really think of who could be worthy of another rant. It took me months worth of research and process, so many ideas flowing through my mind, tests and theory crafting on who I could learn just enough to make a sufficient assessment on. Or I could just make one of the newest champion without knowing a majority of their capabilities. Yeah, I think I'll do that. That's a pretty dope idea. Alright, let's see. Oh, here's this little critter. What's this thing named? Vex? Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Rant series, where today I'll be discussing the newest champion added to the league, Vex, otherwise known as the Gloomist.
Welcome to Sad Town. Population, me. Everyone else, get out.
So, like I said earlier, Vex is the newest champion added to the Rift. She's a Yordle, so I already hate her. Ignoring blatant racism aside, Vex was born in Bandle City. However, she never enjoyed the colorful and cheerful life they had. She basically was the teen scene for the Yordles, you know, the 3 Days Grace listening, punky kind of character. TLDR, the Dark Mist showed up one day, she liked it was all edgy, fell in love with Viego, and her shadow became a living thing. Oh, also, she's really depressed.
I like to lie down, look at the ceiling, think about where I went wrong in life.
But it's like more goth teen depressed, not like Nasus and Aatrox depressed, you know, the ones you feel bad for. It's the type of depression and the type of character you just laugh at. She's basically the exact opposite of what a Yordle should be. Even Veigar follows the normal Yordle attributes, those being loud and obnoxious. Vex is more muted and devoid of these annoying attributes while also being annoying in her own way.
I could start a club for people who hate people. But no one would show up.
Before we get into the gameplay, I just gotta say some things about her character. She's so funny. Can I just say, like, her animations are spot on. Also, did you know that her mouth moves when she taunts and dances?
Honestly, you taunt yourself just by being you.
I don't know any other champions that do that. That's actually pretty cool. Especially that walk cycle. Oh my god, I could just laugh at that walk cycle for days. I'm gonna say something that I know my friends are gonna hate, but her voice lines are some of my favorite in the entire game. But I'm sorry, but these voice lines are just hilarious. Especially that Normie one. That Normie one's become one of my favorites in the entire game.
Way to die, Normie.
And this entire time I've been trying to talk to you guys about her character and just how much I love it, I almost forgot I gotta talk about her gameplay. Silly me. So these are Riot's words, not mine. Vex's gameplay is described to be the style of a classic mage. Now when I first heard this, me, among others, were very petrified at the idea of what Vex could really be. But from what I could gather, classic mage just means really simplistic, and I really like that. I really miss this type of style, actually. But can I say, one of my biggest pet peeves that League's been doing as of late is, like, giving these champions, like, a paragraph worth of an ability. For example, so let's have Vex's on the right, and let's pull up, like, I don't know, Akshan as an example. Now look how tiny Vex's description is. Just little wording, very simplistic and to the point. Now look at Akshan's. Akshan's ability description looks like a fucking middle schooler hasn't had enough words in his word count, so he's just fucking slamming so many words he could possibly fit in. Can I just say Akshan is so fucking annoying and the amount of shit that he has is fucking crazy. Whoever developed Akshan, I will find you! Sorry. That's for another video. But like I was saying, Vex is a very simplistic champion in her gameplay. There's not a lot of description going on here, and I really like that. And I like that they went with a very simplistic tone with her. Does this mean her abilities aren't busted? I hope so, but you know the game we're talking about.
Yeah, I wore this yesterday. What about it?
So we have an odd case with this champion here, because I think what I want to do is I want to discuss her basic abilities first, and then I'll get into her passive. If you don't already know the reason why I'm doing it this way, then you'll understand later when I actually do get to the passive. But for now, we're actually going to start off with the basic abilities first, and then we're going to move towards the passive. So let's get started with the Q. Vex's Q is called Mistral Bolt. Ooh, an interesting name. It's a projectile of magical damage. It's big at first and then shortens but goes faster. And that's the entire ability. No, I'm not kidding. That's legit all it says and all it does. I guess what I could say is the scaling on it's pretty good, but again, that's something we're gonna have to get into later. While being simple, this ability does do a lot of damage by the end game. That's all I've actually got for the Q. I can't even make a joke on this because it's just so short. Vex's W is called Personal Space. What I'm about to say might be a bit wild, might be a bit kooky, hell, might be a bit crazy. But I honestly think this ability might be one of the best basic abilities in the entire game. When activating, Vex will shout the shockwave of magic damage around her. Not only does the shockwave damage, but it also grants Vex a shield. For me to really explain how good this ability is, I'll need to go over the passive, but let me give you some examples of how good this ability is. First of all, the shield strength is scaled with 80% of your total AP. That's a lot of shield, and that's the highest ratio she has in her entire kit, and it's all for a shield. And this shield gets activated instantaneously, but you don't need to hit anything to get this shield. As soon as it's activated, this shield is off. This shield also lasts for 2.5 seconds and it doesn't have a decaying effect. So it's just a static shield instantly. And it also does damage. You can probably already tell, but this ability is pretty good, but it gets even better when we get to the passive. But until that, we got one more ability to discuss, and that would be the last basic ability we'll have to discuss is Vex's E, Looming Darkness. It's very similar to Swain's W, that being a circle of magic damage that'll slow enemies hit by it. Only it doesn't reveal enemies and it has way less range. I sound like a broken record, but this ability gets way better with the passive. However, this ability gets direct buffs from her passive. I don't have a lot to say. This ability doesn't do a lot of damage, but it has a pretty high ratio, and the slow can go up to 50% at the late game, which is pretty nice. But just wait, because this ability and the rest are gonna sound cracked when I finally discuss. Vex's passive is called Doom and Gloom. Throughout the beginning, you definitely noticed how much I talked about how all of her basic abilities are buffed from the passive. Well, here's why. This is easily the most complicated part of Vex's kit, and I say that as if it's actually gonna be hard to understand. So her passive has two parts, one part being Doom and one part being Gloom. Let's start off with Doom. Doom is a passive that periodically buffs all of Vex's basic abilities, those being her Q, W, and E. How it's buffed, you may ask, is that all of her abilities gain the ability to cause flee to the enemy. Not only that, but the speed in which they flee away is altered by the distance in which Vex is from the target. But that's not all when you take into account Gloom. Gloom is the second part of the passive, and it inflicts against enemy champions who dash, blink, or get hit by E, Looming Darkness. The Gloom status effect will last for 6 seconds onto a target, and when having Gloom, it buffs Vex's basic attack, Q, and W. For the basic attack, it makes it become non-projectile, which doesn't mean it's doing way more damage, but it makes it so her basic attack goes through wind wall, and I find that really fucking hilarious. But if the Gloom target is hit by Q or W, that ability will deal bonus damage. And if a Gloom status is consumed, then it reduces the amount of the cooldown on Doom. It's a bit of a mouthful, but a crazy powerful mouthful. This passive is crazy. Let me give you some examples. Let's go back and go to the W. The W I told you earlier becomes way better when you have your passive on it. Well, let me explain. Number one, the W on a Gloom target is going to be doing more damage. And like I said earlier, the base damage on the W is crazy. Not only that, but if you have Doom activated, you are getting a flee on an instantly cast ability that also gives you shield. This is a get out of jail free card. You can literally escape almost anything with this now. And that's not even taking into account how this passive buffs the other abilities. It's fucking crazy. And don't get me started on Q with Gloom. Q with Gloom is like a miniature Vygar R. Only honestly, it might do more damage. I don't know. This passive makes Vex. And what makes it even better is that this Gloom status effect isn't even bound to just hyper carry champions that do dashes and make you look like you're getting fucking laned against Faker with the amount they're fucking jumping around. This passive just steroids up every single ability. It literally feels like when you have this passive up, you're just injected with steroids and all your abilities are just fucking buffed to the max. It's crazy the amount of shit you can do with this passive. It might honestly be one of the best passives in the entire game. It's fucking ludicrous. And I say this as if we're not done talking about Vex's abilities, but we still got one more thing to talk about. And we're going to be talking about potentially one of the most fun ultimates in the entire game. Vex's ultimate is called Shadow Surge. It's a long-range projectile. And when I say long range, I mean long range. When it hits an enemy champion, it'll mark them for 4 seconds and reveal them to the entire map.
But this is where the fun begins.
Marked targets will be affected by the recast of Shadow Surge. You might wonder, Paul, what is the recast? And well, it goes super duper fast at the enemy marked, and when arriving, you do kablamo insane damage to them. But that's not all, folks. If the target dies after being hit by the ult, you can then recast the ultimate and do it all over again. And again. And again. And again, and again. This ability is so much fun, and it does so much damage. You could be a poor, innocent laner trying to farm your minions. Then the next second, you're just getting one-pumped by a Yordle shitter. Remember when I told you that the passive and the W is a fantastic combo? Well, this ultimate allows you to just go into an enemy, point-blank range, and do this combo. You can do so many funny shenanigans with this combination, and oh my god, if you allow an enemy Vex to do this in a crowd, well, good fucking luck, buddy. It's just too much fun. Oh my god, I can't believe how much damage this champion does.
It's not a phase, and I won't grow out of it.
And now we get to the final thoughts, the final part of this video. And I gotta say, in my opinion, Vex has been the most fun champion released this season. I think the big part and why I feel this way is the fact that Riot did an excellent job writing this character. Like, she's so goofy and she's so fun and amazing with her design, the animation, the overall theme, and in-game, she's really strong. And there's just so many reasons why she's strong. Flea's a very strong status effect, which makes her actually really good in the support role. She's an artillery mage, and artillery mages are really strong right now. But the big thing is her scaling. And I think this is a lesson in League of Legends for us to really learn. Throughout this entire season, we've had a huge complaint with a lot of the champions that have come out, specifically Akshan, and Akshan, where we've just had overloaded kit after overloaded kit. But Vex, she's not that overloaded in the essence of having a lot of her kit, but she's incredibly strong with her scaling. Her scaling and the way that her passive works with her scaling makes Vex incredibly powerful. Some of the most damage I've seen in a very long time. And it's on a Yordle. It's on a tiny little squirt. You're getting one shot by a fucking toddler. Again, her kit's not overloaded. It's just her scaling. But the thing is, I love it. This has been the most fun time I've actually had making a rant review for a champion, and not only that, playing a new champion in general. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm actually completely fine with how Vex is. But I'm being serious. She's not like that one fucker. She just does a lot of damage, and she's really fun. I guess this whole rant is just me ranting on how much I love this champion. And that's all I've got to say. Well, on Vex at the least. I'm not done ranting on League. And don't you worry, I got more in store for them. I'll get all those champions done. No one is safe from me. But if you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like. Because not only does it support the channel directly, but it also shows you enjoy the rant series and you want to see more of it. And if you don't mind, if you want to see more of me, please hit that subscribe button with the bell notification. That way you can get notified when I upload a video. And you can subscribe and expect a lot of content, because I don't just upload League. I upload a lot of variety. I upload a lot of games. And I just really hope to see you guys in the next video. The last video I uploaded, I actually got a decent amount of love on. So I'd like to say arigatou gozaimasu. And yeah. I'll see you all in the next one. Make sure to not waste any single moment, minute, or second of your life. And I'll see you all next time. Peace out. Oh, and I'm pretty sure you all know what the next rant will be on.